for her CISF entrance exam. She was in a general compartment. Three men tried to snatch the gold chain around her neck. The thief pushed her out of the moving train. She crashed onto the parallel track. She spent the next 4 months facing surgeries, learning to live with a prosthetic leg. She became the first woman in the world with a prosthetic leg to stand on that peak. Choose mystery before you become history. Arunima Sinha was born on July 28, 1989 in a small village near Lucknow. Her father worked as an engineer in the Indian Army, but he passed away when she was just 3 years old. Her mother had to raise Arunima and her 2 siblings by herself, taking full responsibility for the family. She worked as a health supervisor in a government clinic and did everything she could do to support the family. Arunima was always full of energy. Right from her school days, she showed a strong interest in sports. She started with football and later found her true passion in volleyball. With dedication and discipline, she rose through the ranks, playing for her college team and eventually representing her state at the national level. Alongside sports, she completed her law degree in early 2011. She applied for a job in the Central Industrial Security Force (CISF) and was shortlisted to attend the entrance exam in Delhi, April 12, 2011. It was a warm evening in Lucknow. Arunima boarded the Padmavati Express, heading to Delhi for her CISF entrance exam. She was in a general compartment, packed with passengers, just like any other train at night. Around midnight, as the train slowed near a station, 3 men tried to snatch the gold chain around her neck. Arunima didn't panic. As a trained sportsman, she fought back with all her strength, kicking, resisting and trying to push them away to defend herself. But they overpowered her. She begged for help. There were dozens of people in that coach, but not one person moved. No one stopped the thieves. No one pulled the chain. They all watched and stayed silent. And in one sudden movement, the thief pushed her out of the moving train. She crashed onto the parallel track. Before she could move, another train came rushing from the opposite side. Its wheels rolled over her left leg, shattering the bones and tearing through flesh. Lying on the tracks, severely injured and unable to move, Arunima stayed conscious through the night. She used 2 stones to keep herself awake and fight the pain. Rats crawled toward her open wounds. She could not stop them. Her right leg was also broken. The night felt endless. 49 trains passed over her that night, but no one stopped. At sunrise, a few villagers finally saw her and called for help. The villagers quickly gathered and rushed her to the nearest hospital in Bareilly. Her condition was critical. To save her life, doctors had no choice but to amputate her left leg below the knee. There was no anesthesia available. The hospital lacked basic medical supplies. Arunima later recalled with pain that even a stray dog had wandered into the operation room. But the left leg wasn't her only injury. Her right leg was also badly injured and had to be fixed with a metal rod. After 6 days of treatment in Bareilly, she was shifted to AIIMS in Delhi. There, she spent the next 4 months facing surgeries, learning to live with a prosthetic leg, and slowly beginning her long journey toward recovery. After months of pain and physical rebuilding, a new challenge began. While she was still in recovery, news reports began questioning her story. Some said she had jumped off the train. Others hinted it was all fake. The police even suggested it could be a suicide attempt. Arunima was shocked. She had just been through something no one should ever have to go through. And now, instead of support, she was being blamed. But she didn't stay quiet. She clearly stated that she had been pushed during a robbery and that the police were lying. The doubts didn't stop. People picked apart her story, saying she didn't have a valid train ticket. Some accused her of chasing sympathy, but Arunima stood her ground and stayed firm on the truth and kept fighting. Even as questions and suspicions still surrounded her, Arunima didn't wait for the world to believe her. She decided to believe in herself. She knew she had two choices: to quietly accept what had happened or to rise above it and give her pain a purpose. Lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by pain, doubt and sympathy, she made a quiet decision, one that could change the course of her life. She told herself that she had to do something so extraordinary that people would stop looking at her with pity. That's when the thought of climbing Mount Everest came to her, not to seek attention, but to give meaning to everything she had endured. She reached out to Bachendri Pal, the first Indian woman to summit Everest. The conversation gave her clarity and direction. From that moment on, Arunima wasn't thinking about what she had lost. She was focused on everything she could still become. With her goal now clear in her mind, Arunima knew it wouldn't be easy. Climbing Everest wasn't just a dream anymore. It had become her mission. She began her mountaineering training at the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering in Uttarkashi, one of the toughest schools in the country. There, she learned how to navigate glaciers, handle ropes, survive avalanches, and climb in high altitudes, all with a prosthetic leg. Later, she joined the Tata Steel Adventure Foundation under the leadership of Bachendri Pal. Her training continued, and in 2012, she successfully climbed two major peaks: Island Peak in Nepal, which stands at around 6,160 meters, and Kangri in Ladakh, nearly 6,600 meters tall. After months of training and preparation, the moment she had been working toward had finally arrived. On April 1st, 2013, Arunima set out with the Eco Everest expedition. Over the next 52 days, she faced more than just harsh weather. There was altitude sickness, freezing temperatures, deep crevices, and the constant fear that even a single misstep could cost her life. As she got closer to the top, her oxygen level suddenly dropped. Her guides advised her it was too risky and asked her to go back. But Arunima didn't give up. Then, as if by chance, her flashlight caught something in the snow. It was an oxygen cylinder left behind by another climber. It had just enough for her to keep going. On May 21st, 2013, at exactly 10:55 am, Arunima Sinha reached the top of Mount Everest, 8,848 meters above sea level. She became the first woman in the world with a prosthetic leg to stand on that peak. As she planted the Indian flag into the snow, it wasn't just a victory for her. It was a movement that spoke louder than any words ever could. Years later, in 2018, the Railway Claims Tribunal finally ruled in her favor. She was granted 7,20,000 rupees as compensation. But for Arunima, it was never about the money. It was about proving the truth. While the world had spent years doubting her, Arunima had already climbed the highest mountain in the world. The world may have questioned her, but she never questioned herself. In fact, every bit of their disbelief only made her stronger. Back home, recognition began to follow. The Uttar Pradesh government awarded her 25 lakh rupees in recognition of her achievement. In 2014, her autobiography, Born Again on the Mountain, was released by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A year later, she was honored with Padma Shri, India's fourth highest civilian award, and the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award for her incredible spirit and courage. But Arunima didn't stop at the Everest. She set out to climb the highest peaks on every continent: Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, Mount Everest in Europe, Mount Kosciuszko in Australia, Aconcagua in South America, Denali in North America, Carsten's Pyramid in Oceania, and finally on January 1st, 2019, Mount Vinson in Antarctica. With that, Arunima became the first woman in the world with a prosthetic leg to climb the highest mountain on every continent. Even then, she wasn't finished. She started the Pandit Chandra Shekhar Vikalang Khel Academy. This academy helps underprivileged and differently abled youth train and sports, build confidence in life. Arunima runs it herself, using the money she earns from awards and motivational talks. For her, it's not charity, it's her way of giving back so that others can get the same chance she once had to fight for. Arunima could have faded into the background of history. She chose challenge over comfort, purpose over pain, and potential over pity. Her journey reminds us every new day brings a choice. What mountain stands in front of you today? The real question isn't whether you can climb it, it's whether you will. So when that moment comes, make the choice that matters. Choose mystery before you become history. I hope Arunima's journey touched your heart just like it touched mine. For more such real and inspiring stories, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until my next video, stay curious and keep reading. And always believe in your dreams. Signing off from Page Pulse Bailey. See you next time.